As you persistently and consistently take steps forward, the hand of the divine, seemingly out of nowhere, can pick us up and move us vast distances towards our dreams. So that is the message that came in from the snail this week. And it did take me a minute or two for that to land. I'm still kind of, scrubbing up on my snail communication. But how did this message come into my life this week, which I was guided to share with the collective, because this is a message for me, but this is also a message for many of you out there that have been consistently working and moving forward towards your dreams and taking those small little steps. As I was interacting with these snails this week, so I was coming into contact with them when I was walking, I was seeing them on the path. The first one that I saw that actually where this started was actually a quarter of the way on the road, and I was like, hell, you're about to get run over. There's going to be a car coming on here very soon. If you make it across that road, it will be a miracle. And it possibly could, because miracles do happen, right? But I was like, from my vantage point, I was like, this snail needs a little hand. So I swooped down and I gently, because I realized as I touched it, it really gripped onto the road. And I thought, okay, I know I've got to be gentle with this. Its shell's very delicate. I don't want to harm it. So I managed to very gently get it to unstick and move it across the road and to a grassy area. And that was the first encounter. And then I was to encounter many more snails as I was going on these walks this week and having the same interaction. And I was thinking, okay, I realized the grip, so I thought I'll get a leaf and I'll let it crawl on, or slide on, sliver on, I should say. And I was doing that. And then all of a sudden, when I was doing it one day, this guy comes over and he's like, are you all right, love? Because I'm crouched down and I'm there for ages, just patiently waiting and speaking to the snail. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, I'm just moving this snail because it's going to get trod on or run over. So I'm just moving it to a safe place. And this guy's like, oh, okay, love. I think he was like, okay, so physically you're okay, mentally perhaps not. So I sort of thought, okay, maybe I need to just try and move them faster. So I started to I got the technique down and I managed to just ungrip it very gently, put it on a leaf and move many snails. And obviously when this happens, when I interact with a certain animal that is consistently showing up on my path, then I know it's a sign, or I know it's a message. I know there's a message that wants to come through. So I've been thinking about the snail and thinking, well, the snail, what does the snail do, right? Well, it moves with instinct, right? It uses instinct to move. And, then I was having a little research about the snail to learn a bit more of it. And I was thinking, I see that they move very slowly, but I bet they move quite far distances. And they move significant distances relative to the size of the snails. And they're looking for them. They're using their instincts to move towards their dream homes. They're looking for places that they need a lot of moisture. So they're looking for damp places, long grass so they can get lots of food and also have shelter from predators. This is their dream homes that they're moving towards. And from my vantage point, I could see that some of these snails, most of them, they weren't going to make it. And actually where they were heading, they weren't really heading to that, there was only little patches of grass. So I could see from my higher vantage point and I could scan the area and I could see big spaces of open grassland where I could move them to. So I was moving them. So where they were headed, I was moving them somewhere even bigger, right? So at first the message didn't come in, and then it came in and I realized, oh, I'm coming in here and I'm picking up this snail. It doesn't even realize it's in danger, and it's gripping to what it feels safe, right? It's gripping to what it feels safe. It doesn't even realize. And I can see this, so I'm picking it up and I'm moving, and I can see where it's heading. It's going to be in the same predicament. So I can see a little bit further down the path, and I can see, oh, there's a big space, and I'm pouring it there. And that's when the message came in, right? That's when I realized what was happening. It was like, I was acting as the hand of the divine in this situation for the snails. And that's what we do for each other, right? And that's how the divine works. The divine works through us. It can send people onto our path to help us, to move us vast distances. It weaves these things in the unseen realm for us. It can redirect our path subtly, gently. If you think about the mirror of the snail, right? The snail, animals, nature mirrors back to us our human nature. And, on this journey, we are taking small, persistent steps towards our dreams. And if we are off path, then our divine guides, our spirit guides, source, the divine is gonna intervene, right? Not in a way of intervening from our free will, but in a way that we have a blueprint, that our guardian angels are there to help, to keep us to our blueprint, and they'll give us gentle nudges to move in the right direction. And, often we can cling to what we know because it feels safe, but that is an illusion. Just like the snail, those things often that people see as being safe, like certain jobs or relationships, are not our higher timelines. It's simply an illusion. So sometimes we'll get the messages to leave a relationship or to change a job, to make changes, but we might not listen to that gentle nudge, and before we know it, we might be being picked up and moved a vast distance. Maybe we lose that job, maybe the relationship ends. Now, it doesn't have to be something like that, right? If we've already taken them steps, and that picking up and moving is not necessarily a tower moment like that. But I'm just reflecting on that because often we don't see the hand, we don't realize where the hand of the divine has come in and redirected us on our path to move us a vast distance towards a dream, maybe a dream we didn't even realize we had, or a bigger dream than what we had. Often our dreams are way smaller than the dreams of our souls and the dreams that Source has for us. So you can look back in your life and maybe you can see where the hand of the divine has come in and redirected you, moved you a vast distance towards your dreams. And so that's the message. But I just want to say that from the perspective that I'm having, where this message came through, it was a huge message of joy, of not of like a losing of a job or but that could be, that could be for someone, but that was not the message for me. This message was for those people that have really been dedicated to know they're on the right path, right? Have been following their intuition, their heart, actually know they're on the right path, but it seems to be slow going. That don't be surprised if the divine swoops in over the next few months and you are miraculously moved a massive distance towards your dream life. So that was the message that the snail had to bring in. So I just think that is just so beautiful. Let me just see if there was anything else that I wanted to share in this message with you about the snail. Well, actually, yeah, I mentioned the slipstream, right? How they get onto the slime of the other snails, and that helps them, that moves them faster, right? They move faster because of that. And again, that's us as well. Like we are creating bridges for other people to walk over as we follow our dreams and pave the way for our dreams. Then that paves the way for other people to come onto our slipstream and get there faster, so they can conserve energy. So if you are creating a slipstream right now, if you're watching this video, you likely are, because I know I've been creating a slipstream for people to heal, awaken, and transform through my Reconnect program. And that's created a slipstream so people can get onto I'm not going to call it slime, it's a magenta bridge that I'm creating, get onto my bridge and move faster towards their new earth timeline so that I can connect them to their new earth self in a much quicker way than it took me to get there. So if you are watching this, it's likely that you are doing that as well, that you are paving the way for other people. So it might have felt extra slow going, but the good news is that you are the exact person that this message is coming through, that is going to be getting picked up and moved a vast distance, for all that dedication and commitment. And if this is not you, then know this is going to be you at some point, else you wouldn't be drawn. It's unlikely you'd be drawn to this message. So that is the message that the snail wanted to share. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and maybe you're going to notice snails around you in the next few days as a confirmation that this message is for you, because that's how spirit often works and our guides work. When they bring a message to us, they'll often bring us many confirmations so that we can know this message is for us. So yeah, that's the message from the snail.